a good part of the day. Mrs. Sabine Machal.
Hello.
Welcome to our online publication, Dayo.
Thank you.
It's honor for me to have an interview with you. I try to make sure that you won't get bored during our conversation.
I'm sure. But
Okay, so to start with, I would like to ask you about the history of your visit to Uzbekistan. Well, as far as I'm concerned, you work in Georgia before being appointed as UN resident coordinator in Uzbekistan. So, what impressions have you made?
so I came to Uzbekistan on the 1st of June last year, and I'm very happy to have been now in Uzbekistan for over 1 year already. And during my time here as the resident coordinator, I have visited nearly all regions of Uzbekistan already because it's a beautiful country and it has a lot of diversity. When you look at the Fergana Valley, or if you look at Kashkadarya, or if you look at Karakan, Pakistan. So I've been to most of the places, and I've also taken the other UN colleagues along. So we are doing visits of the country team of the whole UN family in Uzbekistan to the regions. And I think this was my biggest impression, actually, of how, the regions are very different and have a lot of different opportunities.
So, let's compare the two countries, the Georgia and Uzbekistan. What are the similarities and differences between these countries?
So, for instance, Georgia is not a landlocked country, but because they have access to the Black Sea, but they are also much smaller than Uzbekistan. They have only around 3.7 million people, while Uzbekistan has over 37 million, so 10 times larger in terms of the population. In terms of the country teams, it was very similar. We also had around 20 agencies and funds and programs that are working in Georgia. And here in Uzbekistan, we have 25 actually that are working together to support the Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah, so it's much larger in terms of the population, and also, of course, the distances are further than in Georgia. But I think from the work perspective, it's approximately the same size of the country teams. And there's similar agencies actually that are here in Uzbekistan and that I was also working with in Georgia.
What about in terms of people and cuisine?
Yes, of course. I mean, of course, in Georgia, you have the Caucasian cuisine, right? They have, as you maybe know, they have this khinkali. They're similar to the manti here, but they're a bit different because the manti are steamed, and over there, the khinkali, they boil them in water. In Georgia, there's a lot of cheese everywhere. So, they have the khachapuri, which is this cheese bread, which is very famous, I think, as well. And there's also some Georgian restaurants actually here in Tashkent. And it's funny because I live very close to the Shota Rustaveli Street, which is also, a Georgian writer, actually. So people in Georgia have asked me if I'm missing Georgia so much that I found our place here close to the Shota Rustaveli Street. But I liked also my work there very much, of course, in 5 years in Georgia. It was also very interesting. But also I'm really happy to be back here in Central Asia because this was where I started also my international career. When I started before with the OSCE, it was always Central Asia. That at the time, Uzbekistan was very different, right? I mean, when I came and I had a big break because I think I was the last time in Uzbekistan, maybe, I don't remember exactly, but it must have been something like 2010 or something like this. And then when I came back, it was like I saw that this is a Yanzi Uzbekistan, right? It's really new. It's a new Uzbekistan.
The next question: how have you found Uzbek cuisine?
What Uzbek national dishes are you fond of?
And what about Uzbek plov?
I like the gosh. I really like the Uzbek plov very much. And it's also very different, right, from region to region. Again, I've been to many of the different regions, and I have to say each region has its own, delicatessen, in a way. So, for instance, in Kashkatarya, the meat, I think they do it in a very similar
piece in Kashkadarya.
Absolutely. It's really, really nice. But also the fruits and the vegetables in the Fergana Valley, right? I mean, they're really fantastic. But also when I went up to Kungrat, and we had, I forgot now the name, the Uzbek name of the dish, it's with some turkey meat, actually. I forgot the name now, but this was also very, very good when I tried that. So again, in the regions, I'm always learning new things and also new cuisines that I see in the different regions. But I think you have really the best tomatoes in the world, probably.
Well, have you encountered any culture shock here in Uzbekistan?
No, I don't think I've had a culture shock. I have been working in Central Asia quite a lot before, as I said, after some break. where I was in other countries. But this is me and the whole family. I have a husband and also 2 sons. They very much like Central Asia, and we were really happy when this opportunity came, and there was a vacancy here for Uzbekistan. When I applied it, we came back actually to Central Asia and in particular to Uzbekistan.
So your sons study here?
One of the sons is with me. The older one is already, grown up. He's already 21 years old. He's back in Austria now. But the younger son is here, yes, and he's studying in Tashkent in his international school here.
Brilliant. Well, let's turn the theme into a more political essence. So how does the UN assess the role of Uzbekistan in the organization? And what can you say about the cooperation between Uzbekistan and the UN?
So Uzbekistan is a very important member state of the United Nations, and really one that is still promoting multilateralism and also solidarity among states. And this is something that is highly appreciated. I mean, not only by us here who are working in Uzbekistan, but I think also by the entire, UN family. When Secretary General Guterres came last year to Uzbekistan, he was also mentioning this. And recently there was a landlocked countries conference in Turkmenistan in Abasa, where President Mirziyoyev had also a meeting with our Secretary General, Mr. Guterres, in the margins of this conference. And this is very much appreciated, that Uzbekistan really is showing how important it is that we find global answers to our global challenges, right? And no country can do this alone. No country can alone achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and not looking at the neighbors or not looking at how this impacts on other countries. And I think Uzbekistan very much understands that. The Uzbekistan has been initiator of many different General Assembly resolutions. I think since 2018 we had 13 of these resolutions initiated by Uzbekistan, and I think 5 of them have also focused on Central Asia, which shows that Uzbekistan really pays a lot of attention also to the neighbors, including Afghanistan. So I think this is really important, and we need more of this, because we see, unfortunately, in our world that there is a lot of, how should I say, stallment of the development, because we see wars, we see climate catastrophes happening all over the place. We are also seeing that it's getting more. We thought in globalization it would bring us together, but we see that very often it's not bringing us together. It divides very often, right? And I think it's important that countries like Uzbekistan show how you are doing it and how you are implementing the reforms. This can also be really a good pull factor for others to do it in the same manner, or to try and to see that this is actually something which is possible. And I think from this perspective, it's really great. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, we were in Ramadan in the Poverty Reduction Conference. And poverty is, of course, from the Sustainable Development Goals number 1. It's the big goal, the global goal where we are not on track either. But here in Uzbekistan, it was really impressive to see that the poverty has decreased so much over the last few years, in particular, only 17% down to now, I think it's about 6% right now. And there is the wish of going even further down. So I think these are really very important, lessons, and also to share with the world of how Uzbekistan has done it, to really put the people into the center of the reforms. I think this is the very important part also for us as the United Nations, and all of us who are working here. We're trying to support these reforms.
Thanks for the answer. Our next question is related to Afghanistan. So how does the UN support Uzbekistan's efforts to provide aid to Afghan people through humanitarian hub in Sukhandaya region? And what are the measures taken?
Right. So it's very good, I think, that President Mirziyoyev always speaks also about Afghanistan and not to isolate, right, the people of Afghanistan, because they are really in a very difficult situation. And you're right, in Termez, this year in February, actually, the hub in Termez has been integrated in as the 8th global hub of UNHCR for stockpiles. So this means there is the place to stock humanitarian aid that can go to Afghanistan. And not only to Afghanistan, actually, because it can also go to other places where humanitarian aid is needed. And I think this is a very important factor, because as you said, it's really difficult now in the current context, to deal with the situation in Afghanistan. and also how we can support the people there, because they also have a right, to the development. They also have the right to, get education and healthcare and develop their talents like all of us, right? And I think it's really good that Uzbekistan is also really seeing how you can help as well as others, to specifically to Afghanistan. So this is a very important factor. And you have, of course, over 140 kilometers border, right? It's also one of the neighbors. So I think this is really great that there is a lot of attention being paid also to the situation of the people there.
Thank you for your answer. And how do you imagine the future of cooperation between Uzbekistan and the UN?
I think that we will continue to have a very good cooperation, and I really hope also that other states can learn from Uzbekistan. As I said earlier, you have really a very prominent role in many of the areas that when it comes to the General Assembly, the resolutions, but not only the resolutions. For instance, Uzbekistan has also been chosen as one of only 9 countries in the world for a global accelerator program. So this is money that comes from the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals Fund, to Uzbekistan. And this is about social protection, and it's about decent jobs for the future, because you have a very young population, and how we can actually give these people the perspectives here in Uzbekistan with better jobs, with greener jobs. And how do we get those people who are currently in the informal sector into the formal sector of employment? Very often it's women who are in the informal sector, because there's a lot of care work. There is a lot of areas where you're not really registered or, having a formal employment contract. But how do you manage to also get those people into the formal sector? This is a big program. In our region, in Europe and Central Asia, it's only 2 countries. It's us here in Uzbekistan and Albania who have this global accelerator. And there is 7 other countries around the world that are really focusing on this social protection and also on the justice, basically, when it comes to the labor market. So I think in many ways, Uzbekistan has actually shown a leadership in this regard. And so I think there's a lot of room of where we can share experience, how Uzbekistan is doing it with other countries, in other areas where we can also learn how other countries have done it, and then see how this fits in the context here.
Thank you for your answers. By the way, you mentioned that you know Uzbek language.
I know just a little bit.
Can you share what kind of words you know?
I mean, it's just greetings I can say. I can say, for instance, Assalamu alaikum, Muhtaram wa Aziz Tasla, Rahmat. Yes, I can understand a little bit, some of the context when I hear it. But I should actually take more lessons. The problem is that there is quite a lot of work. So the time to learn languages, you really need to also invest. But it's a very beautiful language, yeah. And as you said, it's softer, I think, than some of the other languages, yeah.
Thank you for your answers. And what are your wishes to the people of Uzbekistan?
I really wish to Uzbekistan that young Uzbekistan is going to give to everyone the opportunities to develop their best talent. So that every boy, every girl, will have the chance here to really find what it is that they can contribute to their society, to the life in Uzbekistan, and also how they can actually benefit from the progress that the country is making.
Thank you for your answers, and thank you for your warm wishes and informative interview. It was an honor for me to have an interview here.
Thank you.
And good luck on your work.
Kapta Rahma.